it was an infinite plane.
Yes.
Some people think it's flat as a pancake. What do you mean by the Earth is flat, my brother?
Well, this is just a kind of a primer to open up a discussion, because it's not that it's flat. It is an endless plane that we are upon, and it stretches in all directions. So if we're going to any planet like Mars or Venus, most of it would be outside the range of the Antarctic that encircles us. So we would go, say, beyond a threshold of a bubble or a dimensional bubble that has kept us kind of quantified inside of or pressurized inside of a space we call third dimension. And so the only way that we could create an atmosphere is if we set up a closed circuit. And everybody thinks that we're a ball spinning in space that is a vacuum. That's insane. You cannot put an atmosphere next to a vacuum, because the vacuum would automatically suck the atmosphere out. So how is an atmosphere, which has all these gases, nitrogen, oxygen, and so forth, helium and so forth, how is it not being sucked into outer space, which is this so-called vast, enormous, gigantic vacuum? It doesn't exist. In other words, nobody's sitting down to think twice about what is really going on. So they'll say, well, the atmospheric pressure and all, and then gravity and all this nonsense. All of those are Grimm's fairy tales that were structured in order to keep us stupid. So when I say this, people say, what do you mean the Earth is flat? And what is this? Well, back in the 1990s, I spoke about us being under what is known as a compressed hydrogen dome. And you can go back into my lectures and you could see that the dome was cracked. And that's where the so-called myth of Noah actually came. And actually Noah is Nuwa, N-U-W-A, who helped to repair the rift that you see now, that is, people look at and say is the Milky Way. But if you look at it and you look at a scar along the lines of a person, say, who keloids, you'll see it looks like a gigantic scar in the sky. But we are under a dome, and we are under like a gigantic cyclotron that is being run by the movement, the electromagnetic movement, and one being magnetic, one being electric, and the movement of the sun. For example, today is what, the 26th?
Yes.
And as the 26th, on the 21st of the month, the sun, as you see here, is circling, but it's circling in a parabolic manner. In other words, it's doing this. And then as it comes up towards us in the north, it's doing a smaller circle. Then after June the 21st, it starts opening up its circle again to go back down into where we are today. And then as it hits on the 21st of December, it doesn't keep going further down. It stops for 3 days and circles right there from the 21st to the 25th, right there at the same spot. And then at the 25th, all of a sudden, you see it start to move back towards the northern hemisphere again. So we're not spinning around any sun. The sun is spinning above us, and the moon is its electric counterpart, its magnetic counterpart.
So, a lot of controversy. Is it flat? Is it round? Are we spinning? Is there a curvature? Here's another theory. It kind of mixes both. Ancient Greek, Norse, and Hindu cosmology all focus on an orb as the universe. And after watching enough flat Earth videos...
So, they needed to create a world where they could express these three things. The cycle of birth, experience, and death. Because those things don't exist in the void, in the car, obviously, because that's infinite potential. So the first thing they built was this, a torus field, right? A shell, to shell themselves from the void, from the car. They're now independent. They're now separate. They're now experiencing life outside the whole. Okay? Now, in that void, by the way, in the car, there are many, many other universes and many, many other expressions of experience that are different to us. So this is not unique. We're not the only shell or egg in the universe or in the multiverse. There are many, many of these, right? But this is ours. This is where we are, okay? So they created this egg, as many cultures called it. The Vedics called it the Brahmanda. The Norse mythology, they called it Ymir, the god Ymir. It was expressed through the god Ymir. In Greek mythology, it's the Orphean Egg. In Kemetic Egyptian mythology, they called it the Apep, the serpent Apep. And it's always depicted as a snake or a serpent, which is energy. If you see a snake in ancient mythology, it's always expressing energy, okay? So this is the torus field, electromagnetic torus field that was built. And inside, you've now got primordial waters. It's empty. This is when the Big Bang happened. So when mainstream science says the Big Bang happened at the point of singularity, there's some truth in that. What they're not telling us is that that singularity and that process is a conscious, intelligent creation. It is not a random process. It's not something that happened randomly. It was intelligently designed. Again, that star is far more intelligent than we are. If we are a star, we are probably at 5% intelligence. This intelligence is at 100, okay? Just to put it into context, that's obviously not accurate, but anyway. So now we've got a womb, right? This is the womb of creation. This is now the universe, our universe, okay?
So let's walk through how this universe may have started. Step 1. Out of the void, the Holy Trinity gets created. Birth, life, death. Repeat. Step 2. The Holy Trinity creates its womb to protect itself from itself, the void. Then, the Trinity separates into 3. Positive, neutral, and negative. Next step, the cosmic vortex is created. This gives us our oscillations, our weather, our currents, our airflow, etc. Then, our actual Earth, the rock, a 3-level pyramid on both sides. We are on the 3rd plane. This gives us our 4 elements of life: air, earth, water, and fire. Up above, the galaxies and the stars and the firmament are put in place. Next, we have our toroidal fields. These electromagnetic fields protect and separate all the lands. They also oscillate at different speeds, giving us all our rotations of the different planets. Next, the suns and moons are put in place. 3 suns, 3 moons, with Mercury in the middle, acting as both a sun and a moon. And there you have it, Earth, the universe, within a multiverse, within a masterverse. We can't get...